September the 15th, 1999, approximately 5 days before I was to transfer to Parris Island, South Carolina from the United States Marines. I was enlisted in the early entry program. My name is Lathan Word. I'm 31 years old right now. On September the 15th, I was notified that the Columbus Police Department was looking for me for armed robbery and possession of a firearm. So I called the police department. So I spoke with Detective McDonough. At that time, he told me that he wasn't aware of that situation, but that he had some traffic tickets or something for me for leaving the scene of a crime, which I had nothing to do with that either. At the time, I knew nothing about that. He asked me would I be there if he saw a police car. I told him yes. So he saw a police car, and I waited until the police arrived. They handcuffed me and took me away. And that was the last day that I was free for 11 years and 9 months. I was taken to the county jail and was held in custody, in state custody. It took approximately till September the 5th of 2000, almost a year before my jury trial ever began. And Julius Slater was present in court as on prosecuting side. At the beginning of my jury trial, District Attorney Julius Slater offered me a plea bargain for 10 years with simple robbery. And I turned it down. I told him I wanted to begin trial because I wasn't pleading guilty to something I didn't do. And so she tried to offer it to me again, and I turned it down. My jury trial lasted approximately 2 days and a half. Throughout the jury trial, no evidence was presented, nothing but the testimony of a witness/victim. No other evidence, no fingerprints, no tape, no witnesses, no money, no gun, no mask, no nothing. Upon the witness/victim, Contressus Talbot, taking the stand, who at that time was already a felon for possession of controlled substance and shoplifting. District Attorney Julius Slater asked me for an alibi. At the time of the robbery, I was with Mr. Donovan Brown, who also testified in jury trial, and his mother, Ms. Barbara Brown, also testified that that was our daily routine. At around time that school happened, we always go to Winterfield Elementary and pick up his nieces and nephews at the same time every day. It was a daily routine. His house was my house. At the age of 18, entering the prison system, you got to be a grown man. Guilty or innocent, you still got to be a grown man. I was stabbed 6 times in my back, 2002 December. I lost numerous of relatives, including my father, including my grandfather, both grandfathers, aunties, cousins. Never to get to see them again, you know. Once again, it made me a stronger man. I went approximately 10 years without a motion for new trial, which is an excessive delay, inexcusable delay. I was contacted by Mr. Bill Mason, who was appointed by the state of Georgia after another substitution for counsel that I submitted. 2009, I filed a motion to remand, and my motion for remand was granted in 2010 of March. I was brought back to Muskogee County Jail for a motion for new trial. I was denied. April the 29th of 2010, Mr. Bill Mason filed my appeal brief to the Georgia appeal courts. Same ground that I filed for motion for new trial in the Muskogee County District. It took approximately 11 months. March the 23rd of 2011, my case was reversed by the Georgia State Appeal Courts. Mr. Bill Mason came to see me exactly and informed me that Mrs. Julia Slater wanted me to plead guilty. And I told him I wasn't pleading guilty. So he asked me why not plead guilty and I can go home today. And I told him I wasn't pleading guilty to something I didn't do, whether I go home today or if I go back to prison. Not informing me that, or my attorney, Mr. Lambertus and Julia Slater, transported the victim/witness who was serving multiple life sentences back to testify in jury trial again. Upon the district attorney Lambertus calling for his witness, Mr. Contrestus Talbot, to be brought from the back, the bailiff entered back into the court and said that Mr. Contrestus said he's not coming out to testify. So then the judge ordered the bailiffs to go in and bring him out here. They had to restrain him. So they brought him out. He put his hand on the Bible, and as they was swearing him in, he told them that he wasn't testifying. Mr. Lambertus asked him what he mean he wasn't testifying. He said, "I'm tired of lying." He was like, he said he messed up my life and he was tired of lying. They came, read him his rights, and was locking him up. And he said it was either him or me. And he wasn't going to jail, so he gave him a name of somebody he knew. That happens every day. At that time, Mr. Lambertus ruled for his own witness to be recorded as a hostile witness. My attorney asked him would he testify, and he said he would testify to the truth. And to me, it was conviction. You know, they say God is good, but God has his own timing, you know. Like, we might do something today and don't even think about it until later on it hit us. Like, man, we shouldn't have did that. That's in any case when anybody does something wrong. It might take longer for others to admit they're wrong, and some people's heart just don't never admit they're wrong, like Ms. Julia Slater. On June the 20th, 2011, after cross-examining Mr. Contrestus Talbot, my attorney, Mr. Bill Mason, asked the judge for a direct verdict. After weighing in the evidence, Judge Frank J. Jordan gave a verdict of not guilty. I was taken back to Muskogee County Jail, and approximately 30 minutes later, I was walking out of the front of Muskogee County Jail for the first time in 11 years and 9 months. Upon my release, I had a meeting with Ms. Julia Slater. Ms. Julia Slater informed me and my NAACP representative, Mr. Nathan Sanderson, that she would do everything in her powers to make sure that the charges were taken off my record. As of July of 2012, my record has just been expunged with no help of Ms. Julia Slater. The 13 months that it took me to get my record expunged, it was almost like being in prison. I was still a convicted felon. I was still incarcerated. I only could do what society let me do to the mark they have on my record. No job would hire me. I was given a job August of 2012, which I now still work to this day. I can't say or explain how much pain I feel because it won't solve no problems. So I try to keep my mind off the pain. My purpose for speaking to you is to let you know that everybody ain't guilty and everybody ain't innocent. But it's the duty of the detectives and the district attorney. They're not just there to prosecute, they're also there to investigate. It's their duty to make sure that they prosecute the right person. I hold no grudge, I'm not mad. I understand the mistake, but once you make a mistake, you must correct your mistake and admit to your mistake. And I feel like the district attorney, Julia Slater, she didn't admit to her mistake. That is a mistake I could never forget because it took 11 years and 9 months of my life that I could never get back.